pumping and pumping and pumping. That's exactly what we're going to do in the rest of this bull market, my friends. We have just concluded the 5 red monthly candles for OTHERS-btc. Ethereum today, I broke the news as it happened. Ethereum cracks and twitches 2,600 American dollars. 2,600 was the famous CME gap. Famous to who? Us. Thank you very much for liking and subscribing, pressing the belly button and all. It's one of the CME gaps, is the CME chart. So remember the first one, it cleared all the way down here to 1,400. Then it hit the 1,700 one. And now it's pretty much, it's nicked the 2,600 one. The next one is 3,200, and then we have no more CME gaps. Actually, depending on where we finish on the reopen for the CME, there it's gonna do some screw around here to pretty much fill the gap, which you kind of expected, bro. You just went up like 40% in a straight line, so we're gonna get some sort of volatility like that. I want to remind you that final boss is the CME gap at 3,200. The CME accounts, which is the CUC Mercantile Exchange and Bybit and Binance, all the retailers, everyone's short Ethereum. Everyone's short Ethereum. It's the most shorted asset. A lot of people are short Ethereum. They have the record shorts on CME. All the KOLs are short Ethereum. They're fading Ethereum. They're sidelined to Ethereum. They're short, short, short. Very, very short. Not long, short. They're long Bitcoin and they're long soy, Lana on leverage, of course. And of course, I mean, it's pretty much, it's spiraled out of control for Ethereum land. Hopefully it turns it around. Even though we are celebrating as well, friends, and the highest volume nodes are $3,000. Yeah, so if Ethereum, if MEF gets to this $3,000 zone, so many liquidations are going to happen. It's going to be vicious. Pop, 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 pop. But we got a long way to go, man. With these ETH-BTC friends being it's still around the 0.02. It's just like, oh, you look at it, it's still garbage. We got a long, long, long way to go, bro. And yeah, man, I'm not joking. It is still possible. I know I just wanted to do this, but it is possible. This thing just goes around here for the cycle, and then it comes back down, and then it runs early in the next bear, 2028. That's still possible because that's what it did last time. So we don't know. But let's focus on the positives. At least we stopped going to zero. That's great. I've also got some more cranky G for you. Let's celebrate. Let's celebrate with some nipple pegs. Okay. So, friends, if you remember the Bitcoin obituary, what was happening? The Bitcoin obituary was always a bottom signal, wasn't it? Right? The death of Bitcoin. And the website's actually called bitcoindeaths.com. They go, Bitcoin is dead. Look at all these articles. Bang, 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 bang. Check it out. And they go, Bitcoin is dead. Bitcoin is dead. Okay. We had one for pDAI. Check out this price chart. pDAI is now up. See this chart, friends? Focus on this 532%. pDAI is up 532%. That is a 6.3x in literally about a month and a bit, month and a half. Since this point here. You see that wick? On this wick, I don't know why it was that wick in particular, which we actually zoom in. For some reason, this was the one that made everyone go, okay, now you're actually dead. Okay. This one was, you've just witnessed a fatal car accident. Okay. But then it's like, oh, wait, it might be one of those wick things in crypto. But it was no, this one. That second one right here. That one was everyone goes, guys, it's actually dead. Hold the funeral for it. It's fully dead now, And it's funny, man. Right after here, did the 532% rally. Very interesting. So here you have the chart, pDAI. I wonder what's going on here. The gravestone emoji. Now, also interesting, we are only now a 2.9x from recovering the entire FUD of everything. So I'll put it now on the daily McDay chart. So to recover all the FUD, it's got to get back to 0.005 here. Okay, so yeah, here we go. Around there. If we get to 1 cent, everybody's going to change their Twitter avatars to my peg nipples. And we're literally going to have hundreds of thousands, millions of people in crypto asking this question. Why is there some sort of nipple pegging movement and I'm not a part of it? And then they're going to find their way into PulseChain. And you're going to show them, hey, here's a HEX T-share. Here's an incentive token, green logo. PulseChain, look at all the validators. PulseX, buy and burn. And they're probably going to look at them and go, yeah, that's great. Give me the stable coin that's going to $1. That's probably what they'll say, but that's what you want. That means they're like really, that's new demand. That's what you want them to do. Just like in a cycle, what happens when the super retailer money comes in? They don't say, oh, I'd love to buy your Bitcoin for $185,000. They don't say that. They've got, look, I've got about $3,200. Give me one of those altcoins that can do a 10x. That's how you know. They go, oh, wow, we've got the new demand coming in. The new demand. Okay, so you'll see that. And as a clarification, my nipples do remain pegged, friends. I also want to give you some coverage. So in the background, Maria, Atropa Dev, there's been a lot of background stuff happening. There's stuff involving stable coins, the estrogen ones, okay, which are already $1 and can't pump. There's ones involving that. There's a lot of like the P curve, P badger. Things are being built in the background. Arbitrage pools, things are being set up. They are still being set up. We don't have a full picture yet. I'm waiting, personally, I'm waiting for like when there's enough information and Mr. 99 Capital, who can hit a hole in one, when Mr. 99 Capital can write a long thread where he's like, you know, he's 6 pieces of information. He's like, you know, these addresses are like working on this and these addresses are working on that. And you can see like his cute little circles and cylinders that show you that things are getting built. Because what you want to see is you want to see the web of all the liquidities pointing through stuff and connecting to pDAI. Guess what? They already are. But we just don't have like a visual representation of anything particular. And then maybe we'll just discover more information, such as a lot of the swapping and the buying and burning that's happening through the chain is all pointing through pDAI. So that's what we'd love to see out here. So isn't it nice, fans? Obituary. So just be careful about people calling anything dead in this game of crypto. Also, shout out to my friends in the comment section, Crypto Critters. Suck on that, Giga. That's kind of funny as well. Dangerous David. That was my entry. I'll write it, whichever way it goes now. Oh, but that's awesome. You bought on the actual gravestone. That's really cool. Well done. And man, I've got to give you a very gentle, kind reminder here. This is cute Pikachu, baking in the sun, enjoying the sun, sunset. Maybe it's sunrise. Let me know. I want to tell you something. What are the best altcoins to buy? Obviously, as a joke, I always say the best altcoins to buy are my ones. And everyone I don't own is a scam. But if you really want to learn, the best altcoins to buy, friends, they're actually the ones that help you sleep at night. Okay, that's actually the best one to. That's from stock market saying. That's the best portfolio. Ones that help you sleep at night. Because you got to be able to think rationally most of the time. Okay. If you want to make the most money, find high growth altcoins and research the community enough so that your risk lowers down. So friends, I can't tell you how. When I tell you highest value content in crypto, and yes, I'm a grown man pegging his own nipples, I'm telling you now, there is so much value in this. It's not funny. Find high growth altcoins, research the community enough so that your risk lowers down. You're like, what? So if you do more research, your risk lowers down? Yes. But you say, but my research has nothing to do with the price movement. Of course. You are outside of the price movement. Your paradigm is outside of the price movement. The market volatility outside of your control. You cannot control that. Okay? I've written it here. Risk is not price volatility. The late Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett, they'd always poke fun at the university lecture types. They'll say, oh, these people, when they go to university, and when you do finance and economics at university, they measure risk by how much the price goes up and down, the standard deviation of prices going up and down. Warren Buffett, he doesn't look at risk like that. And I don't look at risk like that. The risk isn't like, oh, the thing goes up and down. No, dude. No. That's not the winning. The winners aren't thinking like that. Okay? Because the price is just what people are willing to trade tomorrow. But it's a crowd of emotions. It's completely volatile. You have no idea what they're going to think. Okay? You can't predict that. Totally random. You got to assume it's worth 0. Could be just 0 tomorrow. That's it. Okay? So that's what your risk isn't. Your risk is not that price volatility, okay? Your risk is your fear of unknowns, all right? That's actually your risk. So the more information you can research, you can close the gap of the uncertainty and you can build up your information level, and now you have an information level higher than the market, right? That's your information gap advantage. You have information asymmetry, okay? So for example, if I'm just using pDAI, perfect example out here, yeah? If, what are most people saying? They go, oh, Richard Hart doesn't like it. His Twitter says it's a scam. It's stupid. There's a Vietnamese kid with his big fat dong. That's what he's been doing. He's been ravaging the whole chain. That is that. But if you research what I research, I go, wait a minute. There are a lot of actions on chain which say a different story. PulseChain pioneers building out the pools. PulseX's very first altcoin logo was the pDAI logo. It was the yellow dye with the pink and purple rim job around it. I actually saw somebody in the pDAI Telegram. He's in so much disbelief. He came in, he joined Telegram. He goes, can you please confirm for me if it is true that pDAI was the first logo on PulseX? And I'm just like so baffled. Like, man, we're in May of 2020. Sorry, May of 2025. I'm like, dude, that's 2023 stuff, 2024 stuff. But yeah, it is true. And even more fancy schmancy, the very bottom is literally 555,555x to $1. It really is. And I want to remind you as well. So friends, people will like make up narratives just to not to get long anything, which is cool. That's fine. All right. So when we're going down, we still are crushed. You saw Eric Wall come out. Baby doll Eric Wall came out. He writes his essay and he says Richard failed. He let a Vietnamese kid destroy him. And he even hints in there. I think he says something like, he might have had a plan for pDAI to do something, but now the whole thing's wrecked. What a sad tale. It was a very, very, very long obituary for Richard Heart and PulseChain. Oh, it was really, 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 really long. I didn't even read all of it. It was so long. So long. It's just always berry stuff. Same stuff, right? All I just saw was, I saw the length of it. I was like, oh, wow, that's a very long thing. Oh, I got to get more bullish, even though it felt really, really bad at the time. So you see that perspective, friends? So if you, look, friends, we got, okay. As a grown man with peg nipples, I'm just trying to tell you something, right? I am imagining what people are saying if pDAI is 10 cents one day. I'm just imagining what they say. And then I'm imagining people say, hey, but Somi told you it's 555,55x to $1 from the absolute bottom. Only one top hat wearing dude who may or may not be a billionaire, who's got more Ethereum than Vitalik, who's got more Bitcoin than Michael Saylor, who beat the SEC, who lived on top of a sandwich shop, who quacks like a duck. Only that guy could make his signature move. Remember, friends, you ever watch wrestlers? Remember Goldberg? It was a spear tackle. Do you remember? And the scorpion move from the scorpion looking guy? I forgot their names. And Hulk Hogan was the people's elbow. See, everyone's got a signature move. Well, Richard Hart's signature move is that. Okay? But they're only going to believe if pDAI is like 10 cents. They're like, oh, but Somi made all these videos, you know? So what I'm trying to do is reverse engineer it. I go, wait, okay. Imagine in my mind today, pDAI is 10 cents. I'm trying to imagine their conversations. They're going, oh, so obvious. It was so obvious. So I'm like, oh. So all I did was put this price chart up higher, and now it's so obvious. If you can find that, you win. You know, you conquer markets. You beat the crowd. Because you're like, wait, you're not a man of faith or a woman of faith or a squirrel of faith. You need to actually see the miracle in front of your eyes for you to believe. The rest of us, we don't actually need to see it. We just believe. We're indoctrinated in. Yeah, it's a believer's cycle. I don't need to see the miracle to believe in it. I don't need to see the 10 cent pDAI to start to believe. Do you see what I mean? It's the same thing with Bitcoin. People who got into Bitcoin early, Da Vinci J15, Andreas Antonopoulos, Trace Meyer, Richard Hart, Roger Ver, they didn't need to see BlackRock saying, yes, I am Larry Fink. Bitcoin is a reserve asset. It's a great asset. We will tokenize the world. They don't need to see Larry Fink talking like that. They were in before. You get it? You do get it. Okay? Not financial advice. None of this is financial advice. Could go to zero, by the way. pDAI already did go to zero. It could go to zero again and again and again and again. This is the PulseChain prices for the 7-day return because it's more green, friends. More green than the 24-hour return. 24-hour how? 7-day return is nice just to see everything moving up. PulseChain, PulseX, Inc. Everything. See, friends, everything's around 40 to 50% because you have Pulse. pDAI's up 100%. Why on that move? Just because like it was way destroyed based on all the ratios. So it might just catch up and accelerate more. Now, where do we go from here, friends? Well, this is nice. The OTHERS-btc chart, we are now the first green monthly candle of MAY. Then we're going to go into the next month, which is June. But 1 month is nothing, okay? There's many of these singular red candles. These mean nothing, man. We need repetition, okay? You know, when you go to gym, you got to train your arms to pick up the pegs, to peg your nipples. You got to train your back to carry everybody in the bull market. That's what I do. You don't skip leg day. We are now printing our first green monthly candle for the year. I mean, that's sad, by the way. That's actually true. Man, it's the month of Ma. Why? The first green of the month for OTHERS-btc is now. Oh my gosh. That's sad. Euphoria is when you have, in 2021, we had 5 in a row. In 2017, we had 6 in a row. So take your bet. How much do you think we're cursed this one? I hope we're not cursed, man. So we're just finishing with 1. I get like, no, like, let's finish the month first, but I'm very confident. Okay, we've like reversed the trend now. We've got to see what happens next, right? The good news is, right, we just had 5 red monthly candles in a row. It can only mean we have the strongest believers in altcoins right now. So I look around my fellow brothers and sisters and everyone else, and ducks and squirrels and pups. You are the most diamond hand of all. What you've sat through. You're literally unshakable at this point. You have been tested through everything. Every single thing coming our way, right? I mean, like, think about eHEX, bro. Richard fudded it, man. Think about pHEX. Richard fudded it and then used the OA to sell it. Think about the difficulty level on those, man. That's why I think it just makes sense at the end. If pDAI gives the highest absolute return because it have the highest absolute risk, and then the next level on that was eHEX. But that's because eHEX got sent much lower on the eHEX pHEX ratio. It literally got sent, friends. It got literally sent freaking 10 to 1. It got sent to 0.10. So you have maximum risk here. So it makes sense if you go, hey, what was the most uncertain? pDAI, right? And of course, PWBTC and stuff. Hey, that's the most uncertain. So if it works out, you have the highest reward. Right, but that's like really tough, man. Like he came out, he literally dumped the coins. You know what I mean? He literally sold the coins OA style, right? So if it works out, you get the highest reward. Next level is eHEX. He comes out, just fuds it. He doesn't use Richard never used the OA to sell eHEX though. He used the OA to protect its yield. Okay, so that will be maybe the next level of reward from the absolute bottom. Okay, from the absolute bottom, which no one buys anyway, right? And then after that, you got the PulseX, eHEX, pHEX, Inc. stuff out here. Everything's going to go great, but I'm just speaking about from how, if you were to have a bar of uncertainty, how uncertain those things were. Because you got to remember, PulseChain, friends, it only, like next to pDAI, PulseChain, the calls look safe. Yeah, but to the 99.9% of crypto industry, it looks risky as shit. They're like, oh, they didn't know Richard Hart was going to defeat the SEC and crush them in the top 5% of results. Friends, most people still think Richard ran off with the money. Do you know that? Out in crypto. They still think he is planning to use the money for himself. He's going to tornado cash it and disappear. I'm not joking. They actually still think it's laughable to us. Yeah, because remember, friends, I told you to lower your risk, you do more research. That fear you have of him doing that, you're like, that's not realistic. You know what I mean? Like, you actually feed it now. But that's because we're in here so long, we've desensitized ourselves to that information. That's why it's really, really tough, like when you're in the first cycle, anything, because you got no one else to, there's no information to go off. It's just, you just literally got to believe. But you get first cycle unicorn results if it works out. So now I do believe we have so much higher to climb for altcoins. What I'm now going to do, friends, is play some Pumpin music. Now I'm going to show you an off-the-cuff move for the average altcoin, which is not, it's not mathematical or anything really, because this is a whole index. But if from today we actually hit up here, okay, which is like, let's just use a round number. Let's use 50%, okay? I think I want to go to 60 plus, but let's use 50%. From today now, that is a 3.7x times whatever Bitcoin's gain is, okay? So let's write that down. To get from here to here, altcoins do 3.7x times Bitcoin move growth, okay? So friends, if Bitcoin goes from 100K to 250K, that will be 2.5x, okay? So I have a tool here, the calculator, and we can do 3.7 times 2.5. You get a 9.25x. So what I'm saying is the average altcoin, if that ratio gets there, pray to God it does. If it gets there and Bitcoin's 250K, you'll see most altcoins are in the vicinity of about a 9 or a 10x today. That's the others. But there's multipliers. The poopy coins, right? The poopers will do more towards like a 6x. Like, you know, like a standard deviation lower. They won't do the full like 10. They'll do like 5 or 6, like really bad ones. Like probably like ones like, you know, ones you just don't even know about, like just ones where you're like, just maybe too many token supply or whatever. And by the way, I don't even want to call a coin like super dead and trash because you're just scared, like they can just run up, right? But the ones, whatever they lack, they'll just do that, okay? The slow moves, right? However, the good ones will do a multiplier on this move. So, you know, last year, this was interesting, in 2024, during this period of time, what I did was I measured how much PulseChain went up when others went up. And PulseChain did, right, this is PLS. It did 2 times whatever others did. Okay. So if that number repeated again, and I don't think it'll repeat again, I think it'll do more because you got, you know, maybe like there's better news like Richard Hart is winning. Maybe we get PulseChain exchange listings, the Ethereum sacrifice, you know, there's more things, you know what I mean? But even if you're conservative, you do that 2 times on that. Let's say it is something like that. So you get about a 20x from today, you know, which that is still low. Because if you go and you check out, what would around a 20x from today be? And I'll just get the chart out for Pulse PLS, the native SPI token on PulseChain. A 20x from today will get you around, so you go to 1900%. It's around 7x sacrifice price, okay? So what I'm hoping and coping happens is if we get here, there's another wild card, Richard, of the sacrifice deployment. And on top of this, wouldn't it be great if we got like another 2 or 3 multiplier on that up here, okay, up here. So what I'll do is you think, oh, but Sammy, that's only inches. Friends, inches, my friend, can go a very long way. It's just how you use them. So if you change it to a regular chart, not the log, look how big this distance is. That's the first wave. That's the wild cup. Holy moly, that's giant. My gosh. Yeah, friends, that's it. 6 or 7x. That's like another 2 or a 3x up here. See? That's huge. See that distance? This could be the difference between HEX at 10 cents and then HEX 45 cents, which is back in 2021. Which what I'll do now, I'll actually show you just what they look like, just so you get some perspective and also have some fun because like everything's been going down forever. We need to like, you know, have some fun from time to time. So this is HEX's log chart. Imagine you predicted, oh, HEX might stop here or it might stop like there. It doesn't look like much when you're looking at here. So I want you to look at this chart from a perspective of we are here. You see what I mean? And you're like, oh, you know, that we might go between this little box. But when you're standing here, friends, when you're here looking at that box up there, you see your eyesight, you're like, oh, look at that, that's a small box. Wow. But look what we're going to do. We're going to change it to a very family-friendly linear chart, which one I'm going to do now. Just get rid of this guy because no one wants to be his friend anymore. So we put on a linear chart. That is huge, friends. Like, I'll just show you. Man, that's big. Like, you have one line here and then one line there. You know, that could be the wild card, right? And what was the actual wild card there? That was PulseChain and PulseX SAC. Yeah. Also, you know, the Ethereum rotation and stuff out here. But yeah, see, whoa, that's it. So if we're playing in PulseChain, I hope that's what we get at the end. We get this final giant up-only run-up where everyone thinks, oh, it's stopped and it's dead, and then we actually do this. So I'm hoping that's like, maybe this, friends, is 7x SAC price. And then up here is like, you know, 20x. By the way, I hope these numbers are much higher. I do. I'm just throwing out numbers here for you, okay? That'd be beautiful to see. So there you go, man. That's what we probably could be in store for. Obviously, depends on Ethereum stopping to cuck us. There'll be a narrative rotational shift and everything out here. Remember, everyone on PulseChain wins when Pulse PLS goes up. That's it. We all win when Pulse PLS goes up. That's why it's in everyone's best interest. If Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, anyone, the more exchanges list PLS, the better. Okay? Everything's bonded to it, man. It's literally, it's friendship. You know what else is friendship? You and me. Like, subscribe, belly button, all. Don't forget he loves you. Catch you soon.